Hi, and welcome to Rich Media Design Productions' next tutorial video, which deals with making your own brush. That's right, making your own, creating your own custom brush. That's what we're going to deal with today in Photoshop CS5. Now, I've chosen this emblem that's I'm sure everybody has seen before, and it's very popular in the United States, that's for sure. Anyway, it deals with the Superman logo, and what I've done with the Superman logo is I've created 3 types of brushes so that you can see how a brush can be used effectively. Okay, now I must qualify the brush in this respect. What we're creating isn't really a brush that you can use for painting or coloring or shading or airbrushing per se. What we're actually building making is a stamp. We call it a brush because that's how brushes are made in Photoshop. They do have actual brush tips that you can use to create your painting or your illustration. But this particular thing that we're doing here is actually in the real sense doing the same thing. We're creating a tip, but when you really think about it, we're actually making a stamp. You'll see why I say that in a few minutes. Okay, here we go. Here's the logo. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to create it, select it all, and if you can see, the whole image has been selected. Then I'm going to go to what makes the stamp, define brush presets, and then it'll ask you what you want to name it. Well, it's going to take the name of that particular image first and present that to you. If you want that, then choose it, and not just type in whatever else you might want to name it. Okay, so I just took out JPEG, and I'll select OK. And now if I go to my brush and go to brush sizes, you'll see that it's been added to my little arsenal of brushes. So now if I select it, go over here to this whiteboard, make a new layer here, because that particular layer doesn't allow you to do anything. You can see that it will stamp a picture for you, and I double stamped it there because if you stamp it once, it's kind of light. And there you have it. So I'm going to go back here, undo twice, back step, use a black. You can see it a little bit better. And there you have it. Just stamped it once, it's a little bit better. Now what it won't do, it won't give you a color stamp. It'll give you a black and white stamp that you can actually use a color to enhance it, but that's about it. Okay, so now I'm going to throw this layer away. I can either throw it away, or I can select all of it and then delete it using the delete key. So anyway, the next logo is the logo without the background. Okay, so anyway, let me deselect it because I'll have to reselect it for you. Now, this one actually has, if you look over here on the layer side, no background. If I took off the background here, you'll see that this gray area has no background to it. Okay, put the white back in there. Now, so if I went to my magic wand, select the area around it, it will select the area around it, and if I inverse this, that means I'm inverting it so that I could select the actual logo. Then I go to edit, select define brush preset. It's going to ask me for a name, so I'll just say brush. Sample brush 1 sounds good. So I'll say okay. Go over here, add a layer, go to my brush tool, there it is, go up here, select the second one that was created, and then you'll see the brush appear over here. Stamp it twice. Not a bad representation. Now if I wanted to make it a color, I could do one of several things, one of which, and this is going to lengthen this video a little bit, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to create a new layer. Then I'm going to get my magic wand, select, sorry, there, select that layer, invert it. Take that layer that nothing was made out of. Well, I see a little bit of vestiges going on here that it wants to pick up. So I'm going to take my lasso and then press my option key and go around there, and I'm sorry, that's not option, control key. I mean, that's the key I want to, the shift key, I'm sorry. And select those little vestiges so it won't pick them up as empty areas. Okay, now I can take my white and my fill brush or fill bucket tool and press in there, and you can see that nothing really happened. But if I go up here and get my brush tool and get away from that brush, but pick a regular brush and a color, for example, and change the mode up here to colorize or color. Now let's change this to color here. I can actually go over here now and paint in a color. See what I'm saying? See what I'm doing there? And pick another color. So you can actually do that to the logo once you've done the other steps. Okay, so now I'm going to deselect rather, and I'm going to take these and delete, because I have one more, actually two more to show you, two more stamps that you can make. Now here's the logo without the background entirely, including the inside part. Okay, so I go back here to the magic wand, select the outside, and it's selecting everything within that or outside of the emblem or logo. Now I'm going to invert it so that it can select the inside. Invert, and I'm going to go to edit, define brush preset. It's saying that do you want to name it sample brush 2? I say yes. Okay, so now I can go to my brush tool and select it, and it's going to give me a brush. If I could make a new layer here that I could use to stamp. Now here's where the illustration comes in for this particular stamp, because it doesn't have any background at all. It's just picking up the stamp or the emblem itself. No background to this. Okay, there's the logo. I made it a green logo. You can't see it too well because it's kind of transparent. So how do you fix that? I go back and I select the outside, invert again, okay, make a new layer, make a white background. Use the bucket tool to fill that area, and then you can see a little better. That green was too light to begin with, but it did allow you to see the logo a lot better. So if I actually deleted that, which I'm going to do, make a new layer, and then use black, go back here to the logo, stamp right over the white. You can see how it made a difference. Okay, that's the third example, and the last example is basically kind of like letting you know that you can make your stamp or brush from anything, including your type tool. So here I selected the type tool, and I'm going to type in the rain in Spain. Okay, center it. Then I'm going to use my select tool here, rectangular marquee tool, and marquee it. Select it. Now I selected closer to the typeface itself, because if I selected everything around it or a larger area, actually causing it to be a larger stamp and emptiness around the stamp. So I brought it in closer. You might want it the other way, it's up to you. Okay, so now I go back to edit, define brush presets. It's saying, do you want to call it brush 3? And I say yes, and now I can just get out of here, take that away, deselect, or go to my, I'm sorry, I pressed the wrong one. Go to my brush tool and pick out the last one, that was brush 3. Make a new layer now, and you can see that it's there. Okay, now why does it look gray? Because it needs to be stamped 3 times in place, and then it's the actual color that you chose for it. Now here's another thing, you can actually change the color on it like you did with the brushes as shown you earlier, and you can change the size. So here you can see I changed the size, and there you go. So anyway, that's your lesson for today. I hope it was helpful, making your own brush. Let's say you have a logo that you're going to use all the time, your personal logo. You can make a brush of that personal logo and put it on your works of art, and there you go. Have fun with it. We'll see you next time.